れより先、人を傷つける者、物を壊す者、悪意を持ち込む者、何人も例外なく暴風林が粛清するな。
Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our channel, Paws On Animation.
And today we're covering the first season of the Windbreaker anime.
This anime premiered in summer of 2024 and is considered the lighthearted version of Tokyo Revengers, and it really is.
Right.
And it centers on Haruka Sakura, who's a high schooler who fights for his own sake until he comes across a gang at a new school who use their fighting to protect others. But
before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, and keep us on future podcasts and little pause videos.
Thank you for joining us today, and every time we have a podcast. Thank you for subscribing, sharing our videos, and so much more. We appreciate you so much. Our
Specials.
So yes, this is definitely a lighter version of Tokyo Revengers. We've seen season 1 and 2 of that, and they throw down much more than they do in Windbreakers, and it's much harsher because you've got Kanagagi going back 14 times to try to right the wrongs.
Right. And it gets involved in like crime and the underworld and everything.
Takamichi! No, Takamichi. And he's trying to right the wrongs, and some of those outcomes are really violent, really sad, really depressing. But in here, yes, it's definitely lighthearted. And you have your fighting going, and even within this season, you have where they're battling another school who challenged them, and the fighting does get kind of intense, but nowhere near that of Tokyo Revengers.
No. And this one, you tell really from the first 2 episodes that the tone is very different. You can tell it was inspired by Tokyo Revengers, but it doesn't make itself a knockoff or a copy of something popular. The twist on this, as we said in the beginning, is that when they do the fighting, they don't just brawl out in the streets and constantly fight, put others in danger with civilians and things. Because Tokyo Revengers, if there's a big enough space, or if you rub them the wrong way, or you look at them funny, they're ready to just knock your lights out at a moment's notice. But for here, when they want to sell their things, they choose a spot to show down in. And usually they try to keep away from civilians and bystanders, and they go to a specific place to do their throwdowns and fights, or they go somewhere where there's nobody there to do the fighting.
But in all fairness, it's never Toman. It's always the other crazy.
Right, it's like, quit, come over here.
Right, leave them alone. So for those of you not familiar with Windbreaker, it's based on a manga written by Satoru Nii. It has 18 volumes. It's still currently running. Began running in January of 2021. The anime has 13 episodes and is available exclusively on Crunchyroll.
Yes, and I'm sure somewhere we're going to get a Windbreaker movie, either anime or live action, is coming since it's already popular.
Live action, please, no.
Well, we got Revengers live action, so I don't know. For here, it's actually a shorter episode run too. I think it's only 13 episodes, so it kind of opens and closes pretty quickly if you watch it weekly without them skipping a week and airing.
With a happy, peaceful ending.
Right, and it's a upbeat opening and a chill type ending, which they usually have in the anime. But I guess for at least me personally, I think the opening is more catchy.
Yeah.
And another thing that's different is that when the groups are done fighting, or if they're like taking turns fighting each other or something, for some reason you find out in the show, they have all this really insane stuff. Like they start rambling like they're got a screw loose or something, and they beat each other slightly bloody and everything. And then everything's finally said and done. Oh, here's some takeout. Then they go up on the roof and eat.
It's like the Avengers going for swirl.
Yeah, that's it. We're just gonna ignore that. Oh yeah, we're done for today. And it's just like nothing happened. Sakura looks like, what the hell is happening?
So Sakura enrolls at Furin High School, and their battle this season are with members of Bofurin, and they are enemies.
And I guess there's a joke, there's a pun within their name.
Yeah, definitely gotta be. So you like Sakura right off the bat, even though he's not trusting. All the characters remind you of other characters. So he, of course, immediately looking at him, Todoroki. He's got the heterochromia eyes and his hair. Like Todoroki. He's a tsundere, so he acts all tough, but he has a sweet center.
Of course.
Yes, and he really, by the end, is getting used to being with the other students that are there. And as you said, they fight to protect those that live in the community.
Right.
And that's different for him. And he begins to really like that.
Right. And that is actually a different take on this type of genre, because we've seen in other shows, whether it's a little thing in the show or that's the entire theme, the people that want to do the fighting, the rivals or the gangs, usually end up going after family members of the people they have a grudge against, or they go after bystanders just for fun, or just to egg them on to fight. He's like, okay, well, I'm gonna beat this person up. You don't fight me, this person's gonna get it, and they threaten them. I like that in here they keep a lot of the sadistic tones out of the public, and they do it away from everybody, and there's no judging them or saying they're delinquents and they're bad influence and all, because they're doing everything away from the public view.
True. So
you get the chance to see it though.
Yes. So you have a character that looks like Luck from Black Clover. He's Akihiko Nire, and it's obvious he's supposed to be Luck. And then you've got one that looks just like Baji from Tokyo Revengers, Kyotaro Shugashita. He's Baji. He's absolutely Baji. He's nothing but Baji. And you've got Sugera, who kind of reminds you of... He's got the orange hair. Who does he look like Ichimo?
Zenitsu, I think.
You think
Oh, no, wait, orange hair? Oh, well, duh, Ichigo.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's who he reminds me
I'm thinking of a different character that kind of acts like Zenitsu.
And you got Suo, who reminds you of the characters from... He's got the eye patch and he's got the earring. And when you look at him, you can't help but think of Manhwa and Heaven.
It was Heaven's official blessing. Yeah. And it's like, you sure he, gets punched or anything? Because he looks like his face is too perfect to get hit suddenly.
And the last one we're going to mention is Hajime Umemiya, and yes, he to me is a cross between Victor and Gojo. I think the first thing when people saw him immediately they said Gojo.
Right.
But when you watch the anime, you look at his eyes; they look more like Victor's. He acts like Victor.
Right.
And he has the white hair and the presence like Gojo. So definitely, he was inspired. The author was inspired to create him from a combination of different characters.
Right.
And it's actually a fun watch. Even during the fighting, what I really liked is they were having these discussions. And there were lessons to be learned, not only from the discussions, but from the flashbacks where you got the backstory for characters from Furin and Bofurin.
Right.
And what really was amazing about this particular technique they used is it was good.
Right.
You got to know things you really wanted to know. You understood more of why each character is whom they are and like they are now.
Right.
And for some of them, you cried. For some of them, you felt bad for them. For some of them, you're like, how in the heck did you get in this place in your head?
Right. Exactly. And a lot of this comes in during the fights in the latter half of the season. And I think that really is the only minor, not really a complaint, but a little nitpick thing that we had, especially when it was one episode a week, is that it did feel like it was beginning to drag on the one-on-one fights, because a lot of it had the inner monologues, and as you said, the flashbacks, understanding the characters, and then you have a few weeks pass and you're like, oh, we're still in this fight because we're not done talking about these people. They're not done monologuing. They're not done flashbacking and everything. And all this is happening as they're punching. So it's like we're still going, because it's like the show stops to give you explanations. So that would be like the only minor drawback it had.
But that was similar to Tokyo Revengers when they had the flashback episodes and going back. So they were inspired by them as well. I think they did it better here. I love Tokyo Revengers, but I think it was done better here because there were longer segments spent on individual characters, and you really got to know them much better. So let's quickly give a shout out to this awesome voice cast. We have Austin Tyndale as Sakura.
But he's not playing a psycho this time.
He's fantastic. He's kind of a psycho.
Well, now, what is wrong with you?
And he's fantastic as Sakura. You have Nere being voiced by Brian Bagas. Shugashita is voiced by Orion Pitts. Suwa is voiced by Dallas Reed. Umamiya is voiced by Aaron Campbell. Hiragi is voiced by Nick Huber. Sugera is voiced by Jordan Dash Cruz. Kiryu, is voiced by Drew Breedlove. And you've got, let's see, Derek Snow is Tomoyama. Chris Guerrero is Togami. And I think that's the last one that we are really familiar with.
Well, it's a pretty big cast of people we love.
Fantastic cast, yes.
And one more thing I want to add is that in addition to the VA performances, it actually has a lot of humor, more humor in it too. Because when you get to the flashbacks, they are pretty hard, but they bounce out with a lot more comedy. And Tokyo Revengers definitely had comedy. They just had to show you a lot of the story before they could get to it. This one has a lot more comedy focus when they're not fighting. And as soon as they're done fighting and the harshness is done, they go right back to comedy. So I'm guessing it's leaning towards more lighthearted comedy, and then when they do the fight, they get to the action. So they can balance it out.
Definitely. So I want to say my last comment is the beauty of the coloring and the illustrations for it. Each cover is gorgeous. And then you've got this palette of black, white, and green that just works perfectly. It's striking no matter what cover it is and how you look at the manga itself, and then it translates to the anime where it just looks gorgeous. This color scheme is perfect. The animation is fluid. The fight scenes are crazy. It's just a really good anime. And if you've never watched Yankee, this is a good one to start with.
Right.
Absolutely. You might want to start with this before you get to Tokyo Revengers. Definitely. So if you've seen the first season of Windbreaker, let us know in the comments below. Also want to shout out and say, don't get this confused when you look it up with Windbreaker, which is also a manhwa in Korea. And when you search, a lot of that comes up more than this, which doesn't make sense because
it's two different things.
Yeah, I'm looking for this Windbreaker and I get that Windbreaker.
Right.
So make sure you get the anime or manga and not the manhwa. They're two different entities.
Right.
And if you haven't seen it, again, it's available exclusively to watch on Crunchyroll. Check it out. Come back. Tell us what you think.
Right. And if y'all don't already, subscribe for updates and movie reviews for your anime series, anime shows, and all things animation.
Yes, and be sure to let us know who your favorite character is. Mine right now is Sakura.
Yes.
So, thank you so much for joining us today. Hope you're having a fantastic New Year so far. And thank you again for subscribing and being our specials. We love you guys so much.
Yes. Thanks for watching Mask Entertainment.
And our Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.